Hello everybody, welcome back out of the case. This is Skyflight 44, aka Sect 44, and today I'm going to continue playing Ratchet and Clank Size Matters. This part is optional, but there is a Ratchet section that's new. If you want to see that, 16-minute mark.
Okay. Here's the deal. I got these two identical skyboards for us to use, right? We'll race one more time to prove who's the best.
Is that a polarizer attached to your dark matter acceleration module?
Whoa, so it is. Man, I never really noticed it before. So what do you think, Runt? You want to give it another go? I'll give you the polarizer if you beat me.
Again, this is going to be mainly skyboarding. There is a new Ratchet section on Metallic that I'm going to be showing off later. Again, it's around 16-minute mark that it probably is going to be shown. And, well, if you don't want to see skyboarding, just skip this part. But I'm very, very much, I very much enjoy the how expressive Ratchet is in this game. Granted, he was always expressive, but it shows so much in this game. I believe it was James Arnold Taylor was the name of the voice actor. Um, he does a really good job with Ratchet in this game. Granted, I don't necessarily like the dialogue itself, but I do like his delivery of most of it. And just Ratchet's expressions. The animators did a very, very good job in that department as well. Um, it kind of rivals how expressive Ratchet could be in the original Ratchet and Clank game. One, not necessarily Tools of Destruction, and the entire Future series actually it did a good job with fixing this, but Ratchet did kind of feel a little bit more, well, a little bit less expressive, and other Ratchet and Clank games between, well, mainly in between Going Commando and Deadlocked, mostly because Ratchet had a helmet on most of the time. It didn't stop him from being from showing any kind of like facial expressions. It just made it a little bit less clear, I'll say. I'm having a hard time explaining it, but I think you get the gist of what I'm trying to say. But it's always really nice to have an expressive character. It's kind of difficult to have that on Clank, but he really gets. It's more of how his voice actor actually goes. I forgot his voice actor's name. I believe he also did the voice for Nathan Hale in Resistance, or at least that's what I've read, um, which is actually pretty cool. I really do like his Clank voice. It was always wonderful. It's especially Clank's dialogue after the first game, and this is due to mainly character development, but his actual dialogue after the first game just shows how much Clank's grown. He's become quite the likable character. I mean, a lot of people do like him in the first game, but not me as much.
This stupid piece of junk never worked right anyway.
It makes magnets change polarity so that they either push or pull when you... Never mind. Thank you, sir.
It's not to say that I didn't like Clank in the original Ratchet and Clank game, but I prefer Clank so much more than the other Ratchet and Clank games, just because he, it is, to say Clank's a child in that game would be correct in so many ways. I just, I just prefer Clank being more adult and human. Uh, in the later games too is fuck. Why do I continue to do that? I just like him later on. Anyway, this actually is a pretty difficult actual set of tracks. The first one was, basic, but these later ones, there's a lot of shit that they send at you. Oh, the mines. And that camera angle, fuck that camera angle. I could never get through that. It's trying to be cinematic. However, you've no idea. This is a PSP screen. Look how far Ratchet was from you. It was on a diagonal. That's just complete bullshit. All I have to say about that camera angle. And let's just say it happens all the time you go through that way. But, what the hell was I talking about? Get me a little bit angry game, and then I forgot everything I was complaining about earlier. But, I'm just gonna say, using the boost like that does help it, but holy crap, is it absolutely annoying. Right there, I actually, it's a little skip you can actually go and do. If you actually fall at a certain point, you'll just respawn right past the goal line, which I wouldn't necessarily try. I mean, you can experiment with it, but I wouldn't necessarily try that on your second lap, just because it sends you past the goal line, and it may or may not register you actually going past the goal line. But it's a good skip for the first one. What you really want to do to actually get that skip to work correctly would be right in that metallic area, right in the middle of that open-ended, like that open field kind of section. You want to head right, sharp right, and just try to get as close as you can to the what was it called? Towards the platform, the area with the goal line. If you do that, the game is going to send you down to the depths of these. Well, I really can't say the depths of space, but it's going to send you down into space. And, well, if you're lucky, if you've done it correctly, you're going to be sent towards the, you're going to be, spawned right past the goal line. But if you do it right around here, you're really not going to save all that much time, because there is the entire falling animation, you falling into space that you have to account for. Oh, this one. The fourth one. It might be actually the fourth one, but one of them. Oh, holy shit! How many obstacles do they have? Look at all the speed down. The slow lanes, I should say. I was having a hard. These last couple of days, I've been having a hard time talking and getting out coherent thoughts. But these just get so crazy. And actually, I believe it's the next track that just throws wall after wall at you. But this is something that the hover bike races really didn't do. The hoverboard races were only really one race, but the hover bike races really tried doing something similar to this, but they didn't change the track layout all too much when it comes to the challenges. However, in the hover bike races, you actually could attack your opponents, which may or may not be useful for you, considering the enemies could also do the same exact thing. But I still have a hard time trying to figure, is this better than is this better than the hover bike races, or is skyboarding worse than the hover bike races? Because one thing the hover bike races do actually have is speed. While we do have quite a lot of freedom of movement with the skyboard, and we also have, quite a lot of obstacles to actually go through, and good tracks to go through. We really don't have a sense of speed, and well, as it's a racing game, that is a detriment to it. Though I would really say it's more of the lack of anything happening when you actually like in these little parts. It feels as if we're just waiting to get to later areas. There are a lot of obstacles that we can go through, but there's also a lot of times where you don't have any obstacle to maneuver through, and kind of makes you feel like you're not doing anything, in which you don't actually have to go and press any button to accelerate or anything like that. So it just feels as if you're just, you know, partially directing where you're going and doing nothing more than that. It's well, I again, I think you get the gist of what I'm saying more so than what I'm. I think you get what I'm saying, even though I'm having a hard time explaining it. Now, this is the final, actually, the final one. It's the final skyboarding segment of the game too, and it's crazy. Let's just say that. Though I definitely will say, while skyboarding may or may not be better than the hover bike races, oh crap. Based on just preference, I I'm not going to knock it on oh fuck. I am not going to what the hell happened there? What was with that nightmarish noise? Completely forgot what I was gonna say. Well, let's just say this is good. It is boring sometimes, and it does take a while to go and finish, but it's pretty good. Although out of a 40, I mean not 40, 4-hour game, this, like 20, 25 to 30 minutes to actually do just racing. And in a game that's not primarily a racing game, kind of a bit much. Though, now that I think about it, mainly because I was quiet and I was just listening to the music. The music's actually really good in this one too. Don't know if it's the same actual track. Probably isn't the same track as the previous skyboarding segment, but the skyboarding segments generally have some pretty good music, which is always a plus. Granted, the entire Ratchet and Clank series has good music. It's just I've never once really wanted to listen to some of the music after after I play it. It's just only really good when I actually play the game itself. But what we're actually going to be going to now after this is a little extra segment on Metalis. You need the polarizer. The polarizer is a gadget that, for the most part, isn't. It's. I've always liked the gadgets that actually gave you a little minigame, or had some semblance of skill involved, or like platforming use. Um, like the swing shot, the grind boots, and all those things. If not, the trespasser like minigame ones. I've never really liked any the what was it called? The basically the gadgets that just open doors for you. The polarizer is a key for the most part. It's not so much a gadget; it's a key. The one of the other gadgets that were basically like a key was the teleporter little gadget from up your arsenal. What it actually did was you basically went on to an actual you opened up or registered a little teleporter thing, and then you would go and like press a button which would like lower a force field or something, or do something, and then you just go back and warp to whatever little portal you were at. Um, I haven't played Up Your Arsenal in a little while, so trying to trying to you know, think right off the top of my head of one of those gadget areas is kind of difficult. But for the most part, that gadget was underused and really just proved to open doors. There was no real skill to it. There was no puzzles to it. There was no platforming to really do with it. It just opened doors for you. And any of those key type gadgets I really don't like, just because we have gadgets like the actual like the hyper shot. We have actually, now that I think about it, we never once actually have to use any of those dynamo type those dynamo type platforming segments in this game. Even though we have the hyper shot. The hyper shot was a combination of the swing shot and the dynamo from Going Commando. Um, yeah, I did enjoy it. I liked both of the gadgets separately, and Going Commando more so than I did in Up Your Arsenal when I went to the hyper shot. However, I did like how they kind of put those two together. The the dynamo would go and have it would activate platforms. It would for the most part it would just activate machinery, platforms, elevators, and shit like that. Actually, I couldn't believe it, but there was actually quite actually now that I can believe it, but there was quite a lot of slowdown here, mainly because of that fire and the probably most likely all the smoke animation um, going along here. Yeah, it was not too bad. Once you get past it, the game runs normally again. So it's definitely the fire and the smoke. But this little area, like I said in an earlier part, it could have been turned into a Clank section. I probably would have liked this better if it was turned into a Clank section than if it was a Ratchet section, just because one of the things I don't like about the Clank section in Rylus is the fact that it happens to be the only Clank section in the entire game. The only Clank section. They could have actually had a Clank section here. Somehow, maybe changing the layout a little bit. More than a little bit. But with just I do believe they could have completely taken out that scrunch section if they actually did so. They have the area. They definitely have models for platforms and all that stuff. It would have gave the Clank section some kind of reason to be here instead of just having one little area. It could have given us, well, it could have given Clank some other way of finding Ratchet without having to rely on a random ass monkey. But I don't know. It's not something that's bad. Having any more Ratchet segments is, it's still a wonderful thing. But this is optional. Just throwing it out there. This is optional. but I don't remember if I died here or not. I think I actually died here at least once. But, oh well, yeah, it was like right there. I died possibly right here. I remember dying in one of those. Because I just couldn't time it right. But what I do the second time, what you can do is I just run right through all the enemies. It works. Don't tell me it doesn't work. You don't have to go and fight those bastards, especially if you've already done it once. But the timing here was a little bit off for me. Just waited a little bit, right through that. That's only here for a little titanium ball and a shitload of bolts, but mainly just the titanium bolt. Which, if you were wondering where the titanium bolt was in this level, even though none of the Clank sections actually give it to you, there it is.